stay here, we die. To save our people, we must escape the Ark!
Hello and welcome, my name is Django and today I'll be droning on like a foghorn in old London town about the Brink. A new first person shooter from Bethesda. Bethesda? Bethesda, yeah. Anyway, so where shall I start? Well, for those of you who have got no idea about this game at all, Brink's basically yet another game set in a post-apocalyptic world where a great division has come about through a kind of shanty town metropolis called the Ark. Essentially you have good guys in blue who want to save the Ark and protect its miserable inhabitants from living in even more squalor than they already are, and the bad guys in red are rebellious people who want well, better lives for themselves and their three-legged children or something. You get to choose basically which side you want to play, and there are a series of missions that play out the story, if indeed we can even call it a story. That's Brink in a nutshell. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The gameplay itself is slightly awkward. It's an awkward hybrid of wishy-washy cinematics telling the plight of either the good guys or the bad guys, and while these are done pretty well and add a lot of character to the game, to be honest I found myself thinking about what I need to get from the shops later rather than paying attention. In other words, they didn't really grip me that much and made me care about either their situation or indeed any of the individual characters that they were portraying. Yes, it's nice to have my character lurking like some kind of guardian angel gangster in the background. Word up Lil G for shiznit my grizzle pizzle and so on. But in fact it summed up my feelings about the story and your involvement in it. You're kind of in the background and not really part of it, not really involved, not really interested. But hear me out. Once you get past the scenes, these scenes, you know, you're essentially greeted with what can only be described as multiplayer levels. If you play solo, then your team is made up of bots who generally have a pretty good AI and will follow your commands, resupply you, and, as is sometimes the case in online play, resurrect your sorry arse as you lie pleading on the floor for your life and face disking because you didn't see a grenade bounce off the wall right into your face. Anyway, there's a few classes you can choose from, so you have a reasonable flexibility in how you want to play, which isn't anything unusual, but it's a pretty rounded aspect of the game nonetheless, however you choose to play it. The pace of the missions is pretty good, and with the enemy's AI it's easy to see where most of the gameplay for Brink will come from: co-op and multiplayer. The similarities to games like Team Fortress is of course undeniable, and despite the humour not being the same in Brink, it is ultimately a very cloned experience. Having said that though, it is a great deal of fun whether you play solo or with others, and despite the lack of depth in story terms, it still delivers on gameplay and makes you want to press on. One of the sticky points, and by that I mean one of the positive points that keeps you playing, is that the game has a large amount of customization which can be steadily unlocked as you progress through the game. The customizations break down into a few areas, from being able to fully customize your loadout per class, which isn't anything dramatic, to customizing the type of scopes, magazines, muzzle attachments, etc. for your weapons, to being able to fully kit out and colorize your character in increasingly insane garments that are a weird mixture of today's urban gear, steampunk and some kind of cabaret act from Vegas. Anywho, beyond that you also get the opportunity to customize your base abilities and class abilities so that you're able to perform different abilities altogether or the same abilities in a better way. In short, the customization is so extensive that it offers a lot to gamers who want to be rewarded for their efforts and want to stand out on the battlefield as well. A balance I'm sure most Team Fortress or similar fans will adore Now, graphically the game is somewhat cartoonish in the cutscenes, with all characters having oddly gaunt and elongated faces, so much so that it looks like someone actually pre-melted them before you even fired a shot. However, the cutscenes add a fair amount of atmosphere to the game and are mostly done pretty well, despite the content of them being as flimsy as a limp dick at a funeral. In game the graphics are quite simple but effective. I didn't notice any clipping or bugginess. The game ran well, performed well, and despite the occasional pause in being able to perform actions, something I hear that's about to be fixed, the controls were on the money too. Sound wise the game is pretty good as well. Everything from voices to gunfire all work well and keep the pace of the missions going. Generally speaking, the graphics, sound and controls all work as you'd expect and do their job pretty well, despite not being earth-shatteringly different or unique. They are what they are. Now, this leads me on to the kind of replayability side of things. It's something I'm not 100% sure about right now, so you'll have to bear with me. It seems to me that there's a good number of maps to play through and a decent number of achievements and unlockables to keep people busy, but I wonder how long that will last really. If we refer back to Team Fortress for example, a few of the things that kept the game alive was its humour, which Brink doesn't really have, its fast-paced action, which Brink does have, its amusing and varied ways to kill opponents, which Brink has to some extent, but not in the same respect, and of course its level of customization, which Brink has in decent abundance. It's too early to say whether Brink will have legs to be a long-term game to invest in, but it will definitely be fun for a few months, so depending on what you want from the game, I'd consider that at the very least. If you simply want to blast stuff, shoot people in the face and run around like a maniac, that's cool, and don't care about achievements or customizations, then you might want to consider something like Monday Night Combat, or indeed Team Fortress 2 or something like that. Might be a better choice. Because while Brink offers a number of things other games of this ilk don't, it strikes me as something that's likely to grow old fairly quickly, say after a month or two. I could be wrong, of course. I hope I'm not, because it's got a lot of good things about it, but it's my gut reaction to it. So, to sum up, Brink is a very fun game with a great deal to keep people interested, and will certainly fill time in between other titles, although maybe not for a year, and perhaps be something you can return to from time to time alone or with friends whenever you feel like it. It does have that kind of I want to dip in and shoot some stuff feel about it. Its solo, co-op and online play is solid and well balanced, and while the story is about as useful as a chocolate kettle, the gameplay often wins through. Anyway, as usual, my scores will be along at the end, so you can check out my overall thoughts. For more details on Brink, you can check out the related thread on the website, and until next time, be U-Ball, be U-Ball. Goodbye.
To step it up another level now, cause we finished warming up, so we rise up, elevate to maintain, fill up with our